Here he is, Mr. Gore Vidal. Nice to see you.
See you, George.
How are things?
Things fall apart, but things do, and we are things.
Yes.
So I promise not to crumble on the program.
All right. Well, if you crumble, that would be okay.
That was okay.
We'll be tender about it. There's a lot of things we can talk about with you. You spent quite a large part of your life chronicling America, chronicling people and the way they feel and think. And I wondered, you're relatively recently back in America. What is your State of the Union? What do you think of the place that is your home?
I fear for it. This is the worst phase in our history, and I've covered everything from the Revolution up to the present day, I think. We've never had such a mess. And it's going to take a long time to put this place back together again. We lost habeas corpus. Mm-hmm. That was the USA Patriot Act. Well, if you lose that, you lose due process of law. Due process is what our system's about.
So when you were a kid, was it your grandfather, your father,
that phrase, due process of law, he said that is what this country is based upon. This was the blind Senator Gore. Mm-hmm. And it was hammered into my head, and then one day it was no longer being hammered there, that the current administration had got rid of it. You cannot demand to be for a trial. If he says, the president says, oh, you're an enemy combatant, there's no proof of any kind. These are just idle charges. Mm-hmm. So you can be locked up for a very long time, and there's no trial. And then I read in the papers, your papers this morning, that a military judge had thrown out the government's prosecution of a Canadian who had been scooped up in one of these sweeps that they do. And anybody can find himself being renditioned to a naval boat somewhere in stormy weather. This is dictatorship, and I always knew it was going to come, because I think it was implicit in our beginnings. But I had warned, and when Bush became president, I said, people said, how did you know when I announced that he would be the most hated president in history? And I said, well, he's going to start a war. Because Saddam Hussein tried to kill my daddy? Well, Magari, as we say in Italy, should have had a go at it.
You spent a lot of time talking about politics, civics of a citizenship, and I wonder, in your opinion, how has the electorate changed? How has the voter changed in America?
Well, the voter has never been worse served by the media. The electorate doesn't know where to turn for information. Students of the New York Times, I'm one, know perfectly well that all the news there has been cooked by one group or another in order to make money and enjoy the wars, which most people don't seem to like them, but corporate America is happy with them. So we are just totally off course, and we don't resemble anything that the founders had in mind, which was due process of law. And simultaneously, we minded our own business. They call that isolationist. Isn't that awful? Makes it sound like those of us who were isolationists before World War I and II believed that the earth was flat, and we'd fall off it. And they demonized the word liberal. We were a liberal republic to start with. What does the word liberal mean? It comes from those who favor legislation tending toward greater democracy. So if you don't like liberals, you don't like democracy.
Do people get the government they deserve?
Oh, I'd hate to think so, because we would really be too vile, if the Bush family was our destiny.
You're the kind of guy that, as you know, people have read you over the years and listened to you in interviews and seen you speak, an intellectual, and I know a lot of intellectuals like to be challenged. One of the great reasons is so that you don't spend too much time with your head up your own arse, and do you find that enough people are willing to challenge you? Because, some people would be intimidated by getting into it with you.
Well, I look forward to destructive criticism always. It's what I deal in, and most people do too. No. I think one thing lacking in the land of the free, and the great republic to the south of here, is there is no open debate about anything. Everybody's terrified of expressing an opinion. Think with the average American, how often you hear, well, you know, from where I'm coming, off the top of my head, let me say that, now I'm just, you know, spitballing this. And it goes on about 2 hours before they begin to come to any kind